I can't see him. I just see you. Is he in here?
He's here now. He just popped
Hey,
in.
hey, what's up, dude?
Hey. You can't hear us?
John?
You got no sound? We can hear each other, so
It's all that matters. And the audience can hear our bit. That's what
oh,
matters.
he's gone. Jon Gorski. Nothing?
No? Nothing?
Right, let's check some settings. Hold on a second. Oh, nope. Now everybody's gone. What just happened?
No, I'm here.
I see you. The third time was not a charm.
No, it wasn't. The guest will be here before he gets here.
Hi, John.
Just let it.
Oh, so you came in sideways.
Is he gone again?
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning into the Refinery. This has been Colt and Brandon.
John, connecting to audio. Hey, Bruna.
Hi.
Hey, there she is. What
Got
up?
audio too. Says John is not connected to audio. Okay, so Bruna, to fill you in, first off, hi, I'm Colt.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. I'm sorry we're coming in hot here. So Jon Gorski, who has no audio but is the creator.
I'm back.
Oh,
Hey!
I'm fine. I'm on my phone.
by
I'm
the
using
way-
phone today.
By the way, he came in super crispy, like, "Oh, I'm not. Hey, no audio problems for me."
Right?
What? My bad. Excuse me. So, Bruna, welcome to
yeah,
the
exactly.
Refinery.
The Refinery.
We love
We're-
Zoom. We love
we're-
technology.
We're still refining our audio skills.
We are.
I apologize. Cheers. You
Cheers.
start?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow.
What is that?
Yeah. What is she? I can't see her. So, what is she having?
So Brandon briefed me on the fact that you guys cheers and that I should have a beverage. So I have Owl's Brew Boozy Tea.
Woo!
Okay.
But by the way, the play on words. Let's go, Brew. Let's go, Brew.
Alcoholic tea is very on brand for me.
Hey.
Which I've never had. Now I want it.
Me either. I saw this at Trader Joe's and I was like, okay.
I gotta say, that is the most California thing that I've seen in a minute. And I fucking love it.
Yeah, overheard LA.
Yes, exactly. When Brandon has topic, Brandon does like a starter topic. It's like a whole really nice quality meal of topics.
Oh,
He
thank
like
you.
starts out, he's like, here's
Thank
your
you.
starter topic, and here is okay. We're gonna get into the meat of the topic here in a second. Then we're gonna have this final dessert topic. It's just gonna be like a palate. It's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that. I just have one that's super heavy. Or not heavy, but I really want to get a girl's opinion on this. So let's throw it out there. Have you heard of the red pill theory?
I don't know if I'm thinking of the same thing. Is this like the whole incel thing?
Yes.
Yeah, they don't like me very much.
No, they don't. I mean, I don't even know you, but just because you're a girl, like
I'm a woman. Yeah.
So, guys, do you know what the red pill theory is?
No, I feel very lost.
Oh,
Yeah, Britt and I are both like,
don't
lost
worry.
over here.
It only goes downhill from here. So, and Bruna, please correct me if I'm wrong. The red pill theory, essentially, guys, what it breaks down to is women are all horrible teases. They're here just to make men's lives horrible. That all of these incel, these men's problems come from women not appreciating them for who they are, and that the only reason they have problems is because of these women, not because of themselves. And maybe you can tell from my sarcastic tone how I feel about it.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to get everybody's take just on kind of the initial reaction, but also Bruna, I mean, having a woman here, it just seemed like I would love to know, especially knowing that you have heard about it, how that, I don't want to say just how that feels, but how that causes your interactions with men to, like, does it cause all of your interactions with men to have kind of a different, like, you see it through a different lens, I guess is what I'm saying.
I don't know too much about the whole incel community or whatever you want to call it. I, funny enough, only know of them because I was targeted and attacked by some of them because of a YouTube video that I did that like went viral and blew up. And I actually didn't know until years later when I found it in some random Google search. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I read this whole article, and they were called like, or I think the article was something different, but they hyperlinked to some red pill video. I don't know. But basically the video that I did was talking about being single for 7 years. And in the video I was talking, and this was maybe like 3 years ago or so. And in the video I was talking about how I had met so many great men during my time of being single. And for one reason or another, it never stuck. Like it just didn't become a thing, whether it was because they didn't want to pursue it with me or vice versa. I didn't really go into detail, but I was saying how that experience led me to believe a couple things. One being I can attract a healthy, good man because I'm seeing them, you know, in my friendships and around me. And two, if I'm very spiritual, if you can't tell. And so I believe in things happening for a reason and in divine alignment and divine purpose. And I think for a long time, I really tried to fight certain things because of what I believe to be best when I don't see the full picture. And so that video was basically talking about how those experiences really allowed me to surrender and understand that if I'm able to meet and cultivate friendships with these quality men, then the man who I'm meant to be with as a life partner has to be fucking incredible, because there's a reason it's not working with these men. And God's not going to give me all these wonderful men and then be like, psych, you're going to be with this guy. And it's like, I just talked about that. And then I'll never forget that weekend. I was at one of my training modules for life coaching at the time. So I had 10-hour days for 3 days over by LAX to do like in-person training. And during one of the bathroom breaks, I was checking my phone and my shit was blowing up. And I realized it was comments on that video. And somehow, some way, that video reached over 300,000 views. And all of the comments and emails and messages, because at some point I turned the comments off, were a lot of angry men who were mad at me for what they believe or perceive to be being super picky and being a quote cum sponge and being a bitch and being all like anything you could think of, they were calling me because they were angry at whatever I represented for them, that rejection or whatever it might be. And so I was like, well, fuck, this is not what I wanted going viral. But at the same time, thank you, because you helped me break the threshold into monetizing my YouTube. So I guess that's a good thing.
There you go.
Kind of like abandoned YouTube because the community there, it works for some. For me, whatever reason I have yet to discover, there's something about me speaking on the things I've always spoken about, but visually, that creates this visceral reaction from certain men. And I, at some point, just had to be like, I don't know that that's worth it. Like, I don't care to put myself through this where people are taking the time out to Google how they can contact me just to talk shit to me about how they feel over something. So that was a long-winded answer, but I wanted to give you that backstory because it's interesting that that's the topic today. And I've had some sort of experience with them. But of course, on my end, I'm just like, you're not mad at me. You're mad at the other woman who rejected you, your mom, your ex, whoever, that you are plastering on my body because I'm the one being vocal and I'm safer to get pissed at because either you don't have contact with whoever it is that started this wound for you, or you're too much of a pussy to have that conversation with them. So it's easier and safer to get mad at me. So unfortunately, when you are in the public eye, that tends to happen. And for women especially, if you don't fit the role that they want, then you are susceptible to more shit from them. So it's not my fault you're not getting laid. Like, I don't know how else to put that.
That'll preach. That'll preach.
But that's what they believe. They believe that they are not having sex or having engagement with women, sexual or otherwise, because it's our fault somehow, for whatever reason.
That's great that you acknowledge that, you see that you're able to catch that. They're not actually coming at you. They're coming at the image of what they've placed on you and not taking it personally.
Well, I say that now, but at the time, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I was so pissed and emotionally triggered, and it was not fun, you know, like, regardless of knowing, you know, consciously knowing these are strangers on the internet who feel safe behind a screen to talk shit about something that, you know, has nothing to do with you, because to create such a strong emotional response, you don't know me well enough for me to cause that. So this is tapping into something much deeper, but you're taking it out on me. And as a human being, that's going to take a toll on you, regardless of whether or not you have the intelligence to know, you know, so sips tea, sips boozy tea.
Sips boozy tea, sits back in chair. Exit stage left.
Oh shit. Well, damn.
Right?
Fuck.
And
This is a real thing.
Oh, it's a real thing, and it's a large community. So
Is it new?
No.
Or have they been around for a while?
A while, in the sense, so the reason it's called the red pill is because, and this is the most disturbing part, red pill, blue pill, matrix.
Yeah. Right? Reality versus the fantasy.
Red pill, yeah, suddenly you're seeing the truth, and it's all, you've been fed a lie your whole life, you've been living in the matrix, and this is the truth. The truth is, it's not your fault. The truth is, you don't have any problems. They have problems. The truth, and that's the part that gets me, is that you're building your own matrix around your brain and around your heart and around your love and your possibility, so that you don't have to actually face reality. And you're calling it reality. You're literally building yourself into a matrix of sorts by telling yourself, this is the truth. There really is. There's, the whole world's out to get me. And the problem is, and this is, I think, a really hard thing for a lot of us to hear, especially a lot of men, because we have been, I mean, just as a generation, but in general, we've been coddled for a long time in certain ways. There are certain ways that I would argue that we have been. And not to mention that I think you guys are all, I'm on the cusp of millennial. It's a really relative term when it comes to me, but y'all are all actually like millennials. I think it was Russell Peters was on a podcast recently where he was talking about, he said, baby boomers can't complain about the way millennials are, the way these incels are. And that's an extension of that, because we created them. We gave everybody 24 trophies. We said everybody participation is barely even mandatory. You still get a trophy. And then you should have everything all the time. You should have to do no work. Nothing's your fault. Nothing's your fault. And now we have the kind of outgrowth of that, which is this community where they're in an echo chamber online, just typing into their computers, looking for women to be angry at instead of dealing with their issues. We deal with that on Part of Love. I have to block people all the time, especially if I put up something about like the video that I made, what men really want, who the fuck cares? Like, that got a ton of red pill stuff. I just didn't know it was a community yet. And it's crazy. It's crazy how far they will go to say women are the cause of all of my issues. Women is a blanket statement, not this one woman or so on and so forth. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a lack of responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, these guys aren't taking responsibility for their issues, so it's easier. And it's kind of like Bruna, you were saying, especially through a screen, it's easier to just blame other people rather than taking responsibility that either they have a shortcoming or they have something that they haven't resolved or dealt with, and they don't want to deal with it. And so it's easier to point at someone else and be like, oh, that's why the problem is this thing. But I didn't realize that they all got together and created a community of blaming other people.
But it's not just a real red pill community, right? Complainers find complainers. People who are complacent with whatever life they have attract other people like that, you know. And then the reason they never go anywhere in life is because they're continuing to feed each other that it's the government's fault, it's this race's fault, it's women's fault, it's men's fault. You know, and this is nothing against. There are certain groups of single women who how do you expect someone to find a man in that group if you're all talking about how bad men are, right? You're not gonna see it or attract it because you're continuing to feed into this narrative that men are bad, men are dogs, men ain't shit, we're better off alone. Well, then that's the reality, the red pill reality you're creating for yourself, is that there are no good men. You're always going to find the douchebag. You're always going to see the guy who's going to do you dirty. You're always going to find that reality that you're creating. But people are drawn to the energy that they surround themselves with. So if you're around people who are like-minded or positive or want more in life, you're going to find people and surround yourself with that. When someone comes into my life or my circle and that energy is not there, I just don't communicate with them as much, because you're not gonna either try to sabotage or talk down or put your negativity into whatever I'm striving for and leaning towards, because you had a couple of bad breaks, because you had a couple of things. This is life. This is fucking life. Shit's gonna happen. Bad things are gonna happen. But I think these people in life, they're going to continue to find each other because they need someone to validate that story and narrative they've created in their mind.
Misery loves company.
1000%.
Sorry, 1000%. I got it wrong.
No, I wasn't correct. It was same time. That timing. Sorry. I'm sorry. Not 100, 1,000. I'm sorry.
What's beautiful, I'm so sorry, Bruna, to cut you off, but hopefully it'll just bolster whatever you're going to say, is I think what Brandon just said about you know, misery, and what you just said, sorry, misery loves company, but that whole, moment.
You attract, yeah.
Is what's so beautiful is that you immediately, whether it was internalized, immediately or not, you were just saying, I'm around these great guys. You're finding your person, your search, your partner, your love. You're finding your love for yourself. And by way of doing that, you're bringing so much goodness to you. And I love that you can see it's not like, I've got all these great men around me and none of it's working out. Something's wrong with me. You're just going, I got all these great guys around me, but it's not quite right. I can't wait for the one who is. That is such a fantastic outlook to have. Congratulations. Like, that's fucking awesome.
Well, I mean, okay, so I'm a life coach as well. And one of the first things we learned was interpretation. And interpretation is, I would argue, one of the root causes of conflict, because it's filtered through our personal experiences and what we know to be true and our ego story and our narrative. So me doing that video and talking about all that, like you said, that was the point I was getting across, because that was what was true for me. For some of these men who watched and felt offended, they did not hear that. What they heard was, here's another woman who thinks she's too good for these men, and she puts herself on this pedestal, and she, all this stuff, because that's what's been true for them. And what I was going to say earlier is, I like that Brandon mentioned women who, talk shit about men, because I'm not blind to the fact that there is, I don't know to the same degree, but there is a world that mirrors this, I think it's more culturally accepted that women talk shit about men. And I'm not going to sit here and act like some of that is invalidated, because a lot of it is, there's this disconnect, at least publicly from what I've observed. Men very quickly in situations like this take it to a violent aggression, sometimes dangerous, life-threatening level. Rejection for men, and I wrote about this for Playboy, can lead to death of women. You don't often hear about that the other way around. Right. You do hear about women who, speak out about some shit that they dealt with certain men and how they've done them wrong. And of course, it's going to make people jaded. If you continuously, and again, there is some personal responsibility to be taken there. You know, why do you continue to feed relationships that aren't nourishing you? You know, these types of things. But hardly do you hear of like, oh, a man says no to a woman's advances, she stabs him and he dies. You know, but you do hear about men who advance at women, she says no, and then she's found dead for that. So there's something there that continues to go either unacknowledged or untreated as to why so many men who do face that type of rejection automatically go to the fucking extreme of taking someone's life because they can't bear to face no. What is it that's coming up that is worth taking someone's life because you now feel like you're not worthy of whatever the fuck you think is happening?
Can I hop in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's, I mean, listen, there's nothing that validates or is an excuse for someone taking someone's life. But what I want to talk to is the deeper reasoning of rejection leading to someone to a particular place. And what I found for myself is that, and I think we've talked about this, Brew, which is belonging, right? Belonging is a natural, it's something natural, it's something that we all naturally long for, whether we want to admit to it or not. We're all looking to belong in a tribe, a community. We want someone to say, I accept you, I see you, you're worthy, right? But rejection at the core of it says you do not belong, right? You do not have a place here. You are not worthy. And I think that's the psychology behind when a man makes an advance at a woman that he wants, or is just looking for some type of validation, and he hears no, what he's not hearing a no, he's hearing all those other stories, because it's the shit's embedded from a young age. We don't know what these men, if we're talking from a psychological standpoint of why these men are taking it to a fucking extreme, because if you think about a wolf in a pack, any wolf that is excommunicated from the pack is sent off to go die. Right. And that's the thing with any tribe or anything like that. If someone is excommunicated from a tribe or a pack or a community, it's because you're off on your own now. So I think the opposite reaction is, I don't want to die. I don't want to be alone. You are the representation of everything that says I can't be loved. I can't have love. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to acknowledge that. So I'm going to end it. I think that could be a train or a dot connecting thing for someone who's going to that extreme. But I think the power of belonging is so strong that even for the most emotionally healthy people in the right circumstance, rejection could be really hard for them to like a divorce from a really, really good marriage of 33 years could put that person in a mental space they've never been in their life. So though I'm not saying it's right, I'm saying I think the power of belonging is so powerful. I can see how it would drive someone to do that.
But you're giving all that power away in a moment.
Yes. Oh, 1,000%.
Because
1,000%.
Right. So I get what you're saying. And rejection is not a man thing. That's a human thing. Right?
It's a human. That's what I'm saying. It's something we all deal with and long for, acceptance. You know.
Right. I think the factor here, though, that we're discussing more is rejection as a woman.
Yeah.
Differently than rejection as a man. And I think it looks differently because of the societal whatever the fuck that has cultivated that mindset. Mm-hmm. For women, I mean, I'm no expert on all women all the time. I know one, and it's me, and I'm still getting to know her. But, oh, I think I got a package. We love an Amazon package.
This is a very good plug for Amazon. And by the way, this episode is sponsored by
our affiliate links down below.
Yeah, down below.
I think one of the things with women is there's this inherent from childhood that your worth is dependent on whether or not a man chooses you. Even when we watch old movies, or not even old, but just like older movies, everything for women is about whether or not you're getting married. So rejection is internalized in that way, but women deal with it emotionally within ourselves. We get sad, we get depressed, we start feeling like we aren't shit and whatever. For men, it seems, and you guys can confirm or deny and give insight because I don't fucking know anything about what it's like to be a man. It seems like that type of rejection is more external because of the ego attachment that's placed on it. And so it's almost like when a man is rejected, he needs to make up for it in some way. And that is usually through forms of some sort of pride or aggression or whatever, if that's the route that he chooses. Meanwhile, for women, it seems to be more of an internal experience.
I think a lot of this has to do with biology. There is a hormonal aspect to it. There's so much that is drastically different between men and women on a basic biological level. So when we get into that, I think that the response very often comes from a mixture of that and society. And again, I don't know women. I only know me as a man. And I don't know much science. So hashtag science. With those factors involved, I think that there's a heady mixture of biological components where we, whether from like the nature of us intrinsically in our very long history of providing and hunter gathering, all that stuff, which has been gone for at least a few generations, but I think is still obviously taught to us and born in us, and a huge thing that we take a lot of pride in, which I think is going to circle back, Brandon, don't let me forget, to what you're talking about, the belonging.
Yeah.
But in addition to that kind of hormonal, ancestral, generational thing, there's also I'm going to harp on this a little bit. I think there's the thing of we are coddled too fucking much in certain ways, and only in certain ways. This is compartmentalization here, but if you're not raised in a household with a man or with a good role model, what is society's like most popular songs and artists currently? A lot of them are in a genre that really promotes bitches and hoes. That is a strange thing that I can say the word bitches and hoes and we all go, yeah, no, I know exactly what that is. It's not supposed to be so bad. It's not a bad thing. And that's not, it's a strange thing that we as society fully accept that that's an acceptable way to talk about women. And I think that when we have a society that fully accepts that and has this kind of biological component, I think absolutely when rejection comes along, and I don't necessarily see it as the same thing, Brandon, that you were saying about belonging. I see it more as single, like one-on-one. Why am I not enough for you? And I think that I would love to see statistics of physical aggression over the course of like the last few decades, generations, over the last 100, 150 years. And I'm sure the statistics don't necessarily go back that far. But I would love to see how that lines out, because we're told that, you should want us, especially if we're providing, if we have means. And if we don't have means, then we're internalizing that separately and then taking that on. And what I don't think, and then I promise I'll stop, is that men are going in and going, you reject me, I'm going to kill you. I think they're going escalating and they don't understand what's happening and they get a little more aggressive and then they're getting scared and they don't know what to do. And then she's upset and then this is happening and then it's just going further and further. And all of a sudden it's too far. It's too far gone. And now it's over. And there's no excuse for that. But that then leads us into the whole mental health conversation of why we need to be focusing more on our mental and emotional health than just our physical. And I'll just leave that there. John?
I mean, I think both of you touched on a couple of things. And I think one of the things, and Bruna mentions, it's the ego. And I think part of it is, I'm curious also, how many of these guys get to that point of escalation with aggression, have the same mentality that the woman's supposed to stay home and cook and she's supposed to take care of the kids, and that same mentality. So it's just like, I'm the provider. So you should, like, the old way of thinking is women want to find a strong man to take care of them and take care of the family. And like, obviously that generations later, like that's not the same mentality. But I think there's certain guys who still think that way. So it's like when they approach a woman and say, okay, you're obviously going to want a good provider, that's me, and then they get rejected, then they're, and as you were saying, it's more external. I think it's they're worried that now they're being rejected by a woman who else knows this. Now I need to make sure that people know that I won't let this be okay. And so that they show by aggression, which is also a past way of showing power, was I won't let this be. And so I need to make my, in case anyone's watching, they have to showcase their power, quote unquote. And that's one of the ways they do it. And it's unfortunate because I do think it goes to, I see where Brandon was talking about belonging, but I don't know. I feel the guys who are going and blaming women and saying, like, I can't believe you rejected me, I'm gonna get to that aggressive. I think there's something deeper, and it's either past conditioning, past way of thinking, but I also think it's a mental health thing, whereas it's like they so attached to this image and their ego that they won't let anything shatter it. Like they think so much of themselves that being rejected is being something devastating to who they are, and they can't let anyone know that that person rejected them. So I need to eliminate the potential leak of anyone finding this crack in my shield of honor, kind of thing, which is unfortunate because I do think there's a mental health issue when someone can't control and like they're so attached to what other people, it's a validation, like their validation is not being approved, and so they have to retaliate, kind of thing.
Gorski, you mentioned honor. I'm so sorry, Bruna. I think there's a lag in the thing. I didn't see that you were going to speak. I think that the fact that you mentioned honor is what gets me, because what I worry about is that this community is not one that gives a flying fuck about honor or chivalry or any of that at any point. If they met,
I think they have their version of it though.
Right.
I think they have their version. They call it honor. I don't think it's what we think is honor, but I think they think there's a version and they're upholding this old school kind of honor.
I don't know.
Everyone has their own version of the truth, right? That's, again, going back to what Brandon was saying, that supports the narrative that they've convinced themselves is true. And obviously, like, for the sake of this call, we're being extremely generic and generalizing and doing the extremes because it's very complex and very layered. But going back to one of the first questions you asked, Cole, at the top, has this changed the way I interact with men? No. And not necessarily in a sense that's good or bad. Unfortunately, my introduction to men was that they're not safe, that I needed to protect myself from men. So it didn't change it at the time. It corroborated the story. Like, it was more ammo for me to be like, see, this is why I can't fuck with y'all. Like, because you be doing shit like this. And that's why meeting so many healthy men, so many grounded men, so many like men who just empower what I call to be true divine masculinity, which is a true leader who empowers and who encourages and who taps into his emotions. That's when I started to feel safer with men. And then I just realized that there's just a lot of other men who, like we were just saying, are struggling mentally, emotionally, or otherwise, and either don't care to seek help or don't have access to help. But even then, it gets frustrating because it feels like women carry the brunt of the effect of that. And so it goes back to, it's not on us anymore. Like, I mean, I can't for all women, but like, we're fucking tired. Like, you can't be telling us to drink less, to wear this, to not wear that, to say this, to act like it doesn't matter. And I can tell you from experience, whether I'm wearing a potato sack or whether I'm wearing a little itty bitty dress, if a man has the intention to do whatever the fuck he's going to do, he's going to do it. So the work is in men holding other men accountable and doing what you guys are doing and having these conversations and starting the work within yourself. Like, this shit has been subconsciously ingrained in us through programming, through media, through, like you were talking about, the songs and shit, that we don't even question it. But I think we're coming to a time now where everything we sort of just blindly accepted, we're questioning. And that's a great place to be, because that's where change happens. But it's also where responsibility shifts. And so I feel like it's just a time now where we're kind of like, I'm tapping out. Like, we've tried everything to stay safe from men like this, and it's proven not to work. So this whole boys will be boys shit, or you getting mad about whatever, deal with it. Figure out what the fuck is going on with yourself, if you have any of that still ingrained in yourself, and then let that ripple out to the men around you, because we can't do this shit by ourselves. And it's not helpful on either side to be like, oh, men ain't shit, women ain't shit, da, da, da. Like, we need each other. That's a proven fact. Like, that's divine balance. But for me, at least when I love people, I'm going to hold you accountable. That's love for me. So if you're not showing up for me and being the type of person we need, I'm going to call you out on that. And so that's my greatest goal and ask, is that men have more conversations like this and hold themselves accountable, and then take that into their groups. Because at this point, we can't, like, what are we going to do? You know, other than continue. You don't want women to continue talking shit about men, but we also know that there are men who fuck us over in ways that we have shit to talk about. So if you don't want us to talk shit, don't give us shit to talk about. It's that simple. And not simple.
Fade to color. Like,
Yes.
that's fucking great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I ain't got nothing after that, goddamn. I ain't got nothing after that.
I seriously, I did want to throw out this because it's just so apropos. Bruna, we talked about, you just mentioned media and marketing and advertising and those and commercials and those kind of things. And you guys remember the way that beer, I mean, and I'm not going to lie, like, a large part of the reason that I was so initially attracted to my now wife, Angelina, was because she looked like every big haired, beautiful model that I saw on every Bud Light commercial growing up. And it's a crazy thing. She just also happened to be the most stunning soul to exist. So that was cool. But, you know, it's cool how beer commercials, segue, have really changed and molded themselves into something else, just commercials in general. And there are still some issues. But I think Heineken is doing a great job. Brandon, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, you're funny. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
That was really good.
Brandon got a Heineken commercial.
Thank you, man. I love that we can celebrate our wins on here and that we can celebrate our victories. I'm coming on. I don't know what else you want me to do.
I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this fucking story for 3 days.
He has been. I want you to insert a clip somewhere of your video you sent to the group text.
I'm sorry, what? You fucking got it? Congratulations, dude. Holy shit. Okay, so wait. It's a print ad, but like a national, I mean, it's a fucking, you're doing a Heineken ad. Is it a print ad or is it a commercial? Like, tell me all the details. Holy shit. Congrats. I think the camera's over here. I don't know. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then just fucking crickets for 3 days. And then followed up.
Kevin Hart, like, ...
Yeah. And then only then sends a voice note, I think yesterday. It's like, dude, can you stop avoiding my fucking question? Please. Yeah, man. I mean, it's been a wild ride. Like, I think the same day I got this audition is the same day I got signed to my NewAgeGents. And I was like, I'm gonna leave them anyway. Fuck it. Let's just do it. Let's just do the audition, right? Let's just do it. So I did the audition. And it's a barbecue scene. And they wanted just someone to be kind of just relaxing and enjoying the beer and not doing too much. And it was about subtlety. I mean, I remember talking to a lot of people about commercial, and commercial isn't about being theatrical or big or stagey. It's like the subtle, like, you don't realize how subtle people are in commercials until you start studying them. They're not doing a lot with their eyes. They're not doing a lot with their hands or their mouths or anything. It's literally just like so anyway, like I was saying, and then boom, that clip for some reason makes it to 30 seconds. And you're like, I want a Heineken. I want a fucking Heineken. So yeah, I mean, I think they definitely shifted. And my NewAgeGents, we had a massive talk about representation and like how the industry has changed massively and is changing massively to change what the leads look like and change your perception of what the average everyday family or what a good time looks like. They're shifting it drastically. So I said, fuck it, let's ride this wave, baby. Let's ride it. I want to be that person. I want to be the storyteller that a young Black boy or a young Mexican kid or a young whoever sees it and says, man, I really like that image. I like that image of that family, or that guy's got hair like mine, or whatever the case may be, or see me on a horse in a commercial and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know cowboys still existed. That's the whole beauty of it. So like I was telling Colt before the call started, it's a print. I believe it's a national print ad, and they're going to do like digital. So they'll do videos and stuff that they able to shoot for social media and all that stuff. So we shoot Friday we shoot Friday.
Applause, track, and go.
You're right here, Colt. You're right here.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. This is such a big thing, and
yeah.
Thank you for holding off until now to fully share it. I'm so sorry, this is a very creaky chair, but it's literally an antique, and I don't.
It's a great segue though. So, Brew, what's a win you've had in the last couple of weeks? Like, share a win with us.
Told you he's gonna go aperitif now.
You have to quench and cleanse the palate. You have to cleanse the palate. Yes, we.
A win.
A win.
Catching me off guard. Let's see. What even happened? What is time? Okay, what happened in the last?
Really?
I love that the incel topic didn't throw her. But what's a win you found?
She's like, I'm like, hey,
this is really small
Jesus,
that I need to talk about. She's like, I've actually gone viral and had a thing about this. And you're like, what's a win you've had? She's like,
this is so deep and complex.
Come back.
Pass. No. Let's see. A win. So what's coming up for me is I recently went to Sedona for the first time. And that was a wonderful experience. And I almost feel like I got like a resurgence of creativity that happened. Like there was one night when I was just like, this is what I need to create. This is what I need to write. And it was just like one of those things where we had a sunrise hike the next day and we were already going to bed late because I was telling my best friend all these visions I was having of things I was going to do. And then anytime I shut my eyes, I kept waking up because I was getting information on the projects I need to do and more insight on what to write. And so I kept waking up to write it down, going to sleep, waking up to write it down, going to sleep. And to me, that's a win because I don't know that I felt that in a long time. And it just really fuels me into realizing like, oh, there's shit coming and I'm being a divine channel right now to birth that in some way. And so I'm excited about that. So that's my win.
Congrats.
Big W's over here. Big W's.
Taking me back to middle school with that.
Gorski, what's your win, baby?
Honestly, the past week has been pretty rad. I think I sent the guys.
We know what your win is.
Yeah, I sent the guys this wedding that we produced this past week up in Cape Cod, which was honestly stunning, and then came right back and then went right to work and knocked out 2 tastings in an event in the last 3 days. So tomorrow I get to finally rest, but it's been career-wise, it's been stellar, and travel-wise, it's been stellar. So it's been some fun stuff. I've been able to see some creativity at a level that I haven't seen in a while. And just see pure joy. Like the couple that got married, it was just like you could tell, wow, these people are madly in love and are going to, the whole family. It was like generational love on both sides. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing to see. So that was definitely a win, just to be with good people, working with good people, getting to do some good stuff, and a lot of good food. Always good food and a lot of tacos. So that was also a plus.
I love that food and tacos those are 2 separate things for you.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
There's good tacos.
Tacos good its own category.
Food, drink, tacos, dogs.
Cool.
I had to personally really good thing that happened. But what made me happier, I think, largely, and we went to visit somebody that I haven't seen in a very, very long time. And they, over the course of it, they were talking about our wedding. And it's just, you just made me think of it, John. And they were talking about the trip that they had coming up to New York for the wedding. They were talking about the venue, but they were talking mostly about the trip that they had and this life-changing experience that they had that was capped off by the church and the venue and the whole event. And it made me really happy that we have been obsessed with love for a long time. And it made me happy to see that we helped two people find that without even trying, just by loving each other so much. It was really cool. So that was this very nice kind of microcosm that affected us none. It wasn't a financial windfall. It wasn't some like beautiful experience. It was sitting in a kitchen with people that I just kind of lost touch with on purpose and reconnected with. And in that moment, there was this very nice moment of also learning their story and just looking at them and being like, wow, you don't even know how special this is. And I have no clue how special this is to you that you're telling me this right now. It was neat. It was nice.
You can see the peace on you, man. It's nice.
Yeah. That was it's one of those things. Sorry. Where every once in a while, when you're, as we said on the last one, I think it was the last one, when you're in the heart of God, you just feel something quiet, and it stops being so loud. And that moment, I'm just really, really grateful whenever it happens. And that was the time when it happened. So it was a pretty good win.
Love that.
I know that everybody has meetings to go to except for me, because for once, I'm the only motherfucker who doesn't have to do shit. Bruna, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for contributing such a fucking amazing episode.
Yes. Thank you.
These insults come after me from this episode. Y'all better get ready to come to my defense.
Come on now.
I've got a lot.
I was so pissed.
Ready. Don't worry.
I was ready to fight in like the first 20 seconds of that conversation. I was like, who do I need to box? I don't even want to.
That's the hardest part.
I was ready to box. Like,
you know what the problem is though, Brennan? That's the feeling you get, and it's overwhelming. And then you have to go, how do I type back, or how, like, what's the best response I have? And that's a hard thing. How do you, the thing is, I didn't realize what it was the first time I responded to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I responded like a normal adult, responsible human male with like, hey, I don't know what's going on. I don't know your story or your past, but like, let's, this is what you said. And this is why that's wrong. Don't say that again. Please.
Yeah.
And what came back was like a double down on it. And then 6 more comments from other people that came in. It was like he went to his subreddit and was like, hey boys, come on. It's all boys.
That's why I don't even engage.
Yeah. And so now I've learned to, with the one from the other day, I was like, hide from channel. But it just sucks because you're like, the point, we talk about love. Love is action over time. That's what we talk about. That's the measurable equation of love. It just is. And it breaks my heart when the action that I have to take is another person being like, nah.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing they don't need, but I'm also not going to be the person sometimes that's going to change that. And it's just, it's an interesting thing because Brandon, you want to buck. You immediately want to be like, hey, let's just just come on down to my gym and we'll just
Yeah,
jump
yeah.
in the ring.
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah,
no
yeah.
big deal. And let's just settle this. Like, one of us is going to be mature about this and one of us is going to end up on the floor, and that's okay.
That's okay.
But because we immediately go there, it's actually more useful for me to be like, son of a bitch, don't do that. Don't do that. Just type.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way. Sorry, went off the rails, but Bruna, thank you so much. Seriously. Like